Alrighty, so in this problem, I'm a little bit mean because what I ask you to do is first find your empirical formula and then find your molecular formula. And if you remember correctly, in problems for molecular formulas, what I asked you to do was take your empirical formula, which I had already given you, and then just simply calculate your molecular formula. So I'm asking you basically to do two problems in one, but you can totally do it. The main thing for you to know is that your empirical formula is the most simplified version of your formula, and then the molecular formula is just slightly off from that. It's not simplified, so basically you can take your empirical formula and multiply it by any whole number, whatever whole number you need to, and that will become your molecular formula, as you will see in this problem. So what I need to do first is I need to find my empirical formula. So what I do, my first step, is that I take all of my percents. I assume I have a total mass of 100 grams, so I make each of these percents just into grams. So for example, I have 49.48 grams of carbon. I've got 5.19 grams of hydrogen. I've got 28.85, so this part's really not that bad. 5 grams of nitrogen. And then finally, I've got 16.48 grams of oxygen. And so what I need to do now is I need to convert each of these into moles. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to crisscross swoosh. Remember, put grams on bottom so they cancel. Moles up top. Okay. I put a 1 next to moles. And then remember that in the gram to mole relationship, that is just going to be my molar mass. So for carbon, for example, the molar mass of carbon is 12.01. So I'll do that math in a sec to find my number of moles. I'm going to just keep writing these out. So crisscross swoosh, 1.008 grams for hydrogen in every 1 mole. Okay. For nitrogen, crisscross swoosh, I've got 14.01 grams here for every 1 mole. So it's just tedious more than difficult. And then finally for oxygen, crisscross swoosh, 16 grams in every 1 mole. Okay. So now I'll actually do the math because my goal is to find the number of moles of each of these elements, which should not be too hard to do. So get out my handy dandy calculator and you do 49.48 divided by 12.01, okay, and I get 4.1199. For the next one, 5.19 divided by 1.008, and I get 5.1. Here, I'll do it over here. 5.14. I'm going to just round a little bit. It's okay to round as long as you get a whole number in the end. 28.85 divided by the 14.01, and I get 2.059. And then for the last one, 16.48 divided by 16, and I get 1.03. Now I need to divide by my smallest number of moles, which in this case is the 1.03, so divide that by 1.03. And remember, this is the part where you need to get the whole number, so 4.1199 divided by 1.03, and I get 3.99999. Well, that is 4. If I had gotten like 3.6, no, you can't assume that that's 4, but since it was so close. Again, divide by 1.03, and 5.149 divided by 1.03. I get 4.9999, and so this is going to be 5. got to be a whole number, divided by 1.03. So 2.059 divided by 1.03. And I get 1.99999, so that's 2. And then this one, if I divide 1.03 by 1.03, I get 1. So my empirical formula, guys, I'm pretty much there at this point. I've got a subscript 4 for my carbon, so it's going to be C4, H5, N2, and then O. So that's my empirical formula. Now, I need to take the mass of this empirical formula, and I'm going to have my molar mass of my molecular formula and divide it by that. So I've got my 194. So this is empirical. You're done writing empirical. Awesome, we're done. So now I'm going to write my molecular. So take my molecular formula mass and divide it by the mass of the empirical formula. So I take 4 times the 12.01 plus 5 times the 1.008 plus 2 times 14.01 plus oxygen, which is 16, and I get 97.1. And so when I divide that, I get 2. So that's my multiplier, guys. I need, in order to get my molecular formula, I just take my empirical formula and multiply all of the subscripts by 2. So my molecular formula for this problem would be C8, H10, N4, and then O2. So in green, guys, you have your empirical formula. Your molecular formula is in blue. And when we're dealing with compounds, guys, it's your molecular formula that you'll be studying, okay? Not your empirical. But in order to get your molecular, you need your empirical formula as well. And that's it.